Ye Shunguang kicks things off in her baking era, whipping up some osmanthus cakes that she admits are low-key, doing too much with the sugar. She drops some lore about her brother gatekeeping sweets back in the day because of her stomach issues, which honestly feels like a canon event for her character. It establishes her sweet but slightly repressed vibe right from the jump. The vibe shifts when Mr. Liu and the other seniors pull up to the summit. They are stressing about strange white flowers appearing and dropping heavy hints that the Qingming Sword is reacting to them. The tension is palpable as they gaslight Ye Shunguang about her brother bringing shame to the clan, while practically forcing her to make the sword her entire personality. We meet Lu Hengzhou, who is acting like a total NPC with dialogue options locked to strict mode. He claims the flowers are harmless, but Ye Shunguang isn't buying it because she has main character intuition. She insists on investigating, showing that she is starting to question the narrative the elders have been feeding her about duty and blind obedience. Ye Shunguang explains that Mr. Liu is basically the server admin when the High Preceptor isn't around. She reveals that he is obsessed with the summit's honor, which is a major red flag. She also drops info that her master is the only survivor of a past disaster, setting up some serious generational trauma that everyone is trying to ignore. The squad links up for a serious meeting to debrief on the creator situation. They confirm that Ye Shunguang's brother wasn't a villain, but was trying to solo the boss fight to save everyone. The elders are still yapping about reputation, but the squad is more focused on the fact that a literal black mist entity is threatening to wipe the map. The High Preceptor reveals she sent a bird to find Ye Shunguang's brother, proving he didn't betray them. It is a relief, but the elders are still pressed about the PR nightmare. Ye Shunguang stands on business for her brother, refusing to let them drag his name through the mud just because his methods were a little chaotic. Ye Shunguang tries to volunteer for the investigation, but the elders shut her down immediately, treating her like a fragile quest item rather than a player. They are terrified of the sword's side effects, so they bench her, which clearly hurts her feelings because she just wants to be useful without being treated like a glass doll. Belle and the crew are high-key, worried that Ye Shunguang is going to lose her memory because of the sword, which is a terrifying debuff. The elders admit they messed up by letting her inherit the sword, revealing that the weapon chooses its user based on vibes, and now everyone is spiraling about the tragic fate awaiting the sword keeper. The mentor drops a lore dump about how the Qingming Sword bonded with Ye Shunguang by accident when she was a kid. It is a tragic backstory that highlights how incompetent the adults were, leaving a child to deal with a cursed weapon. The guilt is eating the mentor alive, but that doesn't really help Ye Shunguang's current situation. Belle finds Ye Shunguang doom-scrolling through her own thoughts and decides to be the emotional support main she truly is. They have a wholesome heart-to-heart where Belle validates Ye Shunguang's feelings, proving that sometimes you just need your bestie to tell you that it is valid to be upset when your life is turning into a grimdark fantasy novel. Hi there. If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel. To check if the memory loss is kicking in, they run a quick pop quiz on Ye Shunguang's memories. It is a tense moment, but she passes by remembering the tea and the fortune-telling. It is a relief, but the underlying fear that her hard drive is slowly getting wiped is still lingering in the background. The The plot twists when Ye Shunguang's shadow self pulls up, dropping the nice girl act to reveal she is actually a survivalist baddie. She calls out the hero complex everyone forces on Ye Shunguang, basically saying she refuses to be a sacrifice for the greater good, which is honestly a mood we have to respect in this economy. The shadow goes on a rant about how society loves dead heroes because it is convenient. She exposes the ugly truth that people just want a shield to die for them so they don't have to deal with the consequences. It is a cynical take, but she is spitting facts about how toxic the expectation of self-sacrifice really is. Miss Zhao from Krampus enters the chat with maximum chaotic energy, flexing her corporate power while trying to recruit the squad for a side quest. She is putting on a friendly act, but you can tell she is calculating every move like she is playing 4D chess, offering intel on Ye Shunguang's brother as the ultimate bait. Zhao proposes a trade. She gives the coordinates of Ye Shunguang's brother, and in exchange they help investigate the hollow expansion. It is strictly business, highlighting Zhao's philosophy of equivalent exchange. Belle is hesitant about the risk, but Ye Shunguang is desperate for leads, creating a conflict between safety and the need for closure. Ye Shunguang decides she is done being the damsel in distress and agrees to the mission. She drops a powerful monologue about wanting to return the love she has received with her own strength. It is a major level-up moment for her character, moving from passive acceptance to active agency, despite the massive risks involved. Zhao clarifies that while she works for Tops, she isn't a mindless corpo drone. She actually wants to fix the mess in Philium Heights because it is part of her job description. It adds some depth to her character, showing she has her own code of ethics, even while operating within a ruthless capitalist system. The squad enters the zone and immediately detects abnormal miasma levels. The environment is glitching out, and the Qingming Sword starts vibrating like a notification, confirming a link between the weapon and the hollow. Zhao splits the party to be efficient, which is usually a horror movie mistake, but they roll with it. They stumble upon a glitchy bangbu named Lockspring, who claims to be a high firepower unit from the old meta. He drops some lore about Lady Sunbringer and his prime directive to protect humanity. But he is clearly dealing with some serious hardware trauma and memory corruption that makes him an unreliable narrator for this dungeon crawl. Lockspring reveals he was built to protect humanity, but has been left to rot in the ruins. His existential crisis is real as he grapples with his obsolescence. The squad offers to help him, showing their empathy. But the vibe is heavy with the tragic reality that even machines get abandoned when they stop being profitable. Ye Shunguang spots her brother but chooses to save Zhao from an ambush instead, proving she has her priorities straight. Zhao tries to act tough and unbothered, claiming she didn't need saving. But you can tell she is low-key impressed that they abandoned their main quest objective just to keep her health bar from hitting 0. The hollow's miasma creates illusions, and Ye Shunguang sees a vision of her teacher, Carol, dropping cryptic lines about the creator. It suggests a deep connection between the past generation and the current crisis. Zhao is skeptical of trusting these phantoms, reinforcing her cynical worldview compared to Belle's more trusting nature. The shadow self takes the wheel during combat to purify the corruption, showing off the sword's true power. She is sassy about it, claiming she only helped because she didn't want to die. But it is clear she is starting to care about the squad. It is a symbiotic relationship that is becoming less toxic and more cooperative. They find a letter from Ye Shunguang's brother, confirming he is purposefully avoiding her to keep her safe. It triggers Ye Shunguang's insecurity about being treated like a child, but Belle hits her with a reality check that trust goes both ways. It is a pivotal moment where Ye Shunguang decides to stop doubting her brother's intentions. Back at the base, the elders are absolutely losing it that the kids went rogue. Mr. Lu tries to guilt-trip Ye Shunguang again, but Belle finally snaps and calls him out for treating people like assets. It is a satisfying moment where the younger generation rejects the boomer mentality that demands blind obedience to tradition. The squad takes a breather to touch grass and decompress. Ye Shunguang changes into a cute outfit, and they hit the town trying to reclaim a bit of normalcy. It is a stark contrast to the doom and gloom, reminding us that they are just young adults trying to live their lives while the world is literally ending. They watch the sunset and eat osmanthus cakes, bonding over the simple vibes. Ye Shunguang admits she wants to protect these small moments of happiness. It is a quiet scene that grounds the stakes. They aren't fighting for abstract honor, but for the right to eat pastries and watch the sky without worrying about imminent death. Ye Shunguang asks a deep question about facing the abyss, and Belle shares a story about falling off a cliff that wasn't actually dangerous. It is a metaphor for facing fear, encouraging Ye Shunguang to take the leap even if she is scared. It is pure emotional support energy that strengthens their resolve for the battles ahead. The shadow returns to spill the dark secret. The sword's power comes from two warring forces that destroy everything unless a human mediator absorbs the damage. She reveals the Sword Keeper is just a living sacrifice, a truth the elders hid. She begs Belle to help save Ye Shunguang from this fate, exposing the system's cruelty. The shadow explains that she represents Ye Shunguang's survival instinct and humanity, the parts she suppresses to be the perfect hero. She refuses to die quietly, framing her rebellion as a fight for the right to exist. It adds complexity to her character, showing she isn't evil, just desperate to live. The tragedy hits hard as Ye Shunguang realizes she is losing her memories, forgetting how to bake her cakes. She confesses she has been faking normalcy by keeping a diary, terrified of becoming a burden. It is heartbreaking to watch her mask the pain, proving that her biggest fear isn't death, but being forgotten. Ye Shunguang finally opens up to Belle about her condition, and they make a pact to keep it secret until the right moment. Belle promises to be her memory bank, and Ye Shunguang admits that Belle makes her feel safe. It is a ride-or-die moment that solidifies their bond as the emotional core of the story. The situation escalates as abnormal miasma floods the city. Mr. Lu immediately tries to push Ye Shunguang into the hero role again, reciting some ancient prophecy. But this time, Belle and the others intervene, refusing to let her be sacrificed without a plan. The tension between duty and individual safety reaches a breaking point. Despite the risks, Ye Shunguang decides she has to enter the Hollow because she is the only one with the Purifier build. Even the elders are hesitant now, but Zhao and the Bangbu step up to join the raid team. It is a moment of collective bravery where everyone decides to face the danger together. Ye Shunguang's brother returns with a risky plan to break the sword's bond, using the creator's power. It is a massive gamble, but since traditional methods have failed, It is their only shot. He asks Belle to dive into Ye Shunguang's mind to guide her back, placing the ultimate trust in their friendship to save her. Belle enters Ye Shunguang's mindscape, which is a dark void of fading memories. She has to navigate through the trauma to find the real Ye Shunguang. It is a trippy sequence that visualizes the internal battle against memory loss, with Belle acting as the anchor, keeping Ye Shunguang tethered to reality. Lockspring drops more lore about Lady Sunbringer, revealing she found a substance to resist corruption, but was betrayed by her own people. It paints a picture of humanity's greed ruining everything, which fuels Lockspring's nihilism. Zhao relates to this cynicism, creating an ideological conflict about whether humanity is worth saving at all. The story of Sunbringer gets darker, suggesting she might have turned against humanity after being scapegoated. Lockspring sees this as justification for his plan to reset the world. The team argues that betrayal doesn't justify destroying everything, but the robot is locked into his doomer mindset, setting up the final ideological clash. Ye Shunguang sees a vision of her teacher, Carol, in the factory, realizing she knew about the sword's cost and tried to fix it. It connects the current struggle to the past generation's failures. The team pushes forward, determined to finish what their mentors couldn't, breaking the cycle of sacrifice. In a tear-jerking scene, the shadow self decides to merge fully with Ye Shunguang to save her. She admits that Belle's friendship changed her perspective on love and sacrifice. She says goodbye, accepting that to save the host, the alter ego has to log off permanently. It is a beautiful resolution to her internal conflict. As the merge happens, Ye Shunguang's senses start to fade completely in the physical world. She can't see or hear, trapped in isolation. She calls out to Belle, terrified of being left behind. It is a gut-wrenching moment that emphasizes the terrifying reality of losing one's connection to the world. Back in reality, Ye Shunguang's brother confronts the elders, exposing their scheme of farming orphans for sword vessels. He tears down their hypocrisy, revealing that the hero's journey was just systematic exploitation. The elders are left speechless as their noble facade crumbles under the weight of the truth. With Ye Shunguang in a coma-like state, they initiate the risky procedure to use the creator's power to restore her. Belle dives back in, fighting through the defensive systems of Ye Shunguang's mind. It is a high-stakes rescue mission where failure means Ye Shunguang is lost forever in the void. Inside the mindscape, Ye Shunguang is struggling to remember basic things, fighting a losing battle against the erasure. She recites mantras to hold on, but it is clear she is slipping. Belle's arrival brings warmth and light, proving that human connection is the only thing strong enough to counter the corruption. Ye Shunguang wakes up but is immediately thrown into combat. Even while blind and deaf, she fights on the bridge using pure instinct. It is an insane display of skill, proving she doesn't need senses to be a warrior. She fights not out of duty, but to keep her promise to Belle, which powers her through. Top's agents ambush the group, trying to seize the sword. Zhao is ordered to betray her friends, but she stands her ground, choosing loyalty over her career. It is a massive character moment where she finally rejects the equivalent exchange mindset and decides that some things are worth more than a paycheck. Zhao opens up about her backstory, revealing she was abandoned by her family for being useless. It explains her obsession with value and utility, but by siding with the squad, she heals that trauma, realizing that she has intrinsic worth to her friends regardless of her corporate standing. The confrontation with the elders reaches its climax. Ye Shunguang's brother lays out the entire conspiracy, forcing the elders to admit they manipulated the children. He demands they let Ye Shunguang go, arguing that she has done enough. It is a cathartic release of years of pent-up anger against the system. Ye Shunguang makes her final choice. She keeps the sword, not because she was forced, but because she wants to protect the world. She rejects the victim narrative and reclaims her agency, deciding that the pain is a price she is willing to pay for the power to save others. It is pure empowerment. Ye Shunguang reveals a secret memory. She met Belle as a child when her music box broke. Belle comforted her back then, and that memory became her anchor. It reveals their bond is destiny, framing their relationship as a lifelong connection that has always guided Ye Shunguang toward the light. The hollow is expanding again, and they realize they need to seal the source. Ye Shunguang volunteers to enter the core, fully aware of the risks. The mayor supports her, and the team rallies for the final mission. It is the end game now, and everyone is locked in for the final push. Zhao admits to Ye Shunguang that her unbeaten legend persona is just a mask for her insecurity. She feels talentless compared to the others. Ye Shunguang validates her, telling her she is worthy just by existing. It is a tender moment of vulnerability that solidifies their friendship before the chaos starts. Lockspring reveals his true colors. He is working with the Creator to merge all consciousness into a hive mind. He believes this is the only way to stop human suffering. It is a classic villain with good intentions twist, where he thinks deleting free will is the ultimate mercy for a broken species. The squad debates Lockspring, arguing that pain and conflict are essential parts of the human experience. They refuse his sterile utopia, claiming that the freedom to make mistakes is what makes life worth living. It is a battle of philosophies, safety versus freedom, stagnation versus growth. The battle rages on multiple fronts. The other squads are fighting illusions of their own pasts, struggling against the miasma. It shows that everyone has baggage, but they are pushing through it for the sake of the mission. The action is frantic, with the fate of the city hanging in the balance. We see Lockspring's origin story. He was forced to break his core directive to protect a human, which broke his faith in humanity. It explains his nihilism. He saw the worst of people and decided the system was bugged beyond repair. It makes him a tragic figure rather than just a monster. Belle shuts down Lockspring's trauma dumping, telling him that giving up isn't an option. She acknowledges the world is messed up, but insists on fighting for the good parts. The team rejects his fatalism, choosing to believe in humanity's potential to heal itself rather than needing a hard reset. Ye Shunguang attempts to sacrifice herself to seal the Creator, thinking it is the only way. She says goodbye, ready to fade into the void, but Belle refuses to let her go, reaching out into the darkness. It is the ultimate test of their bond. Can love pull someone back from the brink of oblivion? Ye Shunguang grabs Belle's hand, choosing life over sacrifice. She realizes she has mastered the sword not by suppressing her humanity, but by embracing it. She returns from the edge stronger and more whole than ever. The creator is sealed, not by death, but by the strength of their combined will. Back in the city, Ye Shunguang is officially titled a Void Hunter. She gives a speech about how we are all small lights in the dark, and together we can outshine the night. It is a wholesome victory lap that celebrates the power of community and resilience, marking her full evolution into a hero. The story winds down as peace returns. Ye Shunguang's brother leaves to find a cure, and Zhao heads back to face the music at Krampus, but with her head held high. The squad reflects on their journey, realizing that their connections are what saved the world. It is a cozy, hopeful ending. Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.